Hello and welcome once again to Stone Soup.
The world according to sci-fi geeks.
And it's October.
Yep.
So you know what that means? It's pumpkin
Apple
time.
time.
Pumpkin time.
Apples.
We don't have any apples.
Chocolate?
Pumpkin.
Be that way.
Pumpkin time. And we're going to make something we've never made before with pumpkin. We're going to make cookies. We've made pumpkin bread and pumpkin pie and pumpkin cake. Something that was supposed to be pumpkin brownies, but turned out to be pumpkin cake.
It was quite lovely, but it wasn't brownies.
And it wasn't brownies. So,
Continuing with our pumpkining adventures.
We are going to, first we have to cream together a half a cup of butter and a cup and a half of sugar. And while I'm doing that, she's going to measure out a cup of pumpkin.
I will need a spoon. Please excuse me.
Oh, should have gotten that. Oops. Always something. We always screw up something. Wow. I wonder if they meant a whole... Well, they probably didn't mean for you to put it all in at once like that.
Probably not, but oh well.
Well, this says to beat it in with the beaters anyway, so I'm going to be doing that in a minute. Because it's supposed to beat it in until it's fluffy. Yeah, right. Like that's going to happen. No more butter than I've got here. La la. You'll be cutting some of this out. But
Anyhow. Found this recipe online. Like we said, this is the first time we've tried it. We are doing it exactly as written this time, and then after we see what we get, we'll decide what we need to change. What we might like to change.
well, how to fix it. Yeah, how to fix it. For instance, it calls for a cup and a half of white sugar. Maybe it would be better with a cup of white sugar and half a cup of brown sugar. We won't know that. But before we start screwing around with it, we thought we ought to find out just exactly, excuse me a moment, what we get this way. I always think pumpkin goes better with a little bit of darker sugar, just makes it richer. But you never can tell.
See, that's about a cup. Give or take.
Yeah, it'll also tell us, if we do it the other way, and we will, we'll find out how well, what the differences are. Does it change the texture? Probably. Okay.
Something else we will learn with this is, can you freeze canned pumpkin?
Yeah, because we're going to have a little bit of leftover pumpkin there. Oh, it smells good. Okay, now, it says to white sugar. Add the pumpkin, the egg. Okay, we have one egg, cup of pumpkin. I think I'm going to stir this egg in here a little bit first.
Okay. I'll just move this over to the sink. Always keep your work area as clean as you can.
And always start, by the way, by washing your hands.
Yes.
We do. You may not see us do it, but we did it. Okay. Now add your...
One problem with wet ingredients like this, they stick.
Hit me. Hey.
Whoop.
Never mind.
It lives.
Ta-da! And vanilla.
Yee.
By the way, this calls for, like I said, it's a cup and a half of white sugar, half a cup of butter, a cup of pumpkin, one egg, a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Well, hark, I have no measuring spoons.
What
That's
did you
all
do
right.
with them?
That's all. I don't know. They were right here a minute ago. That's okay. What the hell?
Whoa, wait a second.
I'm not going to fill it up. It's just, all right. Oh, there they are.
Oh, we're not blind, we just can't see.
La, 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 la. I wasn't going to hurt it, Much. This particular set of measuring spoons has some extra sizes in it that I've never seen before. And I have to kind of remind myself.
Okay, we're not doing it exactly as written.
I like a little extra vinegar. Vanilla. It's vanilla. Anyway, to remind myself to make sure I've got the right size. Because there's a 3/4 size in there. This is especially important when you're measuring salt. If it calls for half a teaspoon of salt, which this did, by the way, I haven't put that in yet. You don't want to be, you know what? I don't think we need a mixer back there. Maybe. Let's see. It says add pumpkin, egg, and teaspoon of vanilla to the butter mixture and beat until creamy. Oh, well, all right then. I have to beat this. Hang on to your hats, people. Thank you. She's a good sous chef.
I try. Well, while we wait for that to cream up, this past Monday we watched the premiere of the new show Terra Nova. Visually, it was quite nice. There are a couple of problems with the writing. Spoilers ahead. If the laws about procreation were so strict, that people will come barging into your house and take any extra children you're not supposed to have, you would probably be sterilized the moment you had your second child, you and your spouse. And second of all, what did they do with Sophie? Was she taken into foster care? Were they allowed to keep her since the dad went to prison, thus they're technically back down to a family of 4? They didn't say it, so it's very confusing. And
Well, there was an implication that Sophie was with her mom because she, quote, got used to sleeping in my bed with me.
That's true. But they should have been clearer
probably
on that.
because Dad went to prison, but they didn't, they didn't make that clear. And it certainly looked like they had come to take the kid away. I guess that's
And
creepy.
having the angry teenager who storms off and gets his butt in trouble, God, that was so cliche. And also these other teenagers, they're supposed to be so mature and responsible. They're allowed to have their own hut, and yet they're breaking all the rules and going to see themselves killed.
Because it just wouldn't be any fun the other way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hang on to those minutes. Do I need those? Nope. Okay.
You sure?
Yeah. Okay. Now, it says to combine the flour. I'll set that aside for half a shake. This is 2.5 cups of flour, baking powder, baking soda, salt. It's a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a half a teaspoon of salt. And the spices, which are 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and half a teaspoon of ground cloves. Mix that all together. I need a dry something to stir this with. When you combine them ahead of time like this, you get your spices distributed much more evenly. Also, like when you're making cookies, if you've got a cookie recipe that does not, that seems to imply that you should put in the dry ingredients and then try to put in like the vanilla, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You will never get the vanilla stirred through, especially in a cookie recipe because it's too thick. You got to put the vanilla in when it's in this state.
Yes.
Okay, now, speaking of vanilla, out of the way. Now, that's my dry ingredients. It says, la 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 la, mix in dry ingredients. That's very informative, isn't it? So I guess we just, but I'm going to be sorry I did that. It does not say to do it bit by bit or piece by piece.
So, hey. Pardon me while I do a little tidying. Oops, sorry.
And I have a feeling this is going to be a real soft cookie dough, but then it's a drop cookie, so
So that's not too shocking.
it smells kind of good.
Yeah.
By the way, they have a glaze that goes on them. If I've got enough powdered sugar, we'll make that.
Generally, when you're doing cookies, you add the flour, one thing at a time because it mixes easier that way.
Yeah. Also, I think when a recipe is put up on the web, and they're usually put up by individuals like you and me, if it's to be made in a food processor, they should say so.
Indeed.
Okay, here we go.
Now, I may recall that we once discussed how we felt about people who will, share a recipe but will leave something out or change something so that nobody else can make it quite right. Which,
Well-
when you get recipes off the internet, you have no way of knowing just how accurate they actually are.
Yeah. You would think if somebody wants to put their recipe on the internet to share it with the world, they'd do it properly, but you never can tell. And there's our cookie dough. And it is very soft. It says to drop it by drop on cookie sheet by tablespoonfuls. Cookie sheet, so pat lined. That still isn't the right size. That one's too big too. Can't find another one this size. Now I'm just going to assume that this is a tablespoon.
Yeah, give or take.
It also, let's see, it says to flatten them slightly.
I don't suppose it recommends how to do that.
No. I suppose like that. Sledgehammer. The cameraman's a wise ass. He says sledgehammer. I think that might be a bit excessive. Besides, look at them. They're pumpkin cookies and they're round. Wouldn't that be kind of cool?
And they're so soft that flattening them just gets sticky stuff on your hands.
Yeah.
Tasty sticky stuff, but sticky stuff.
Well, yeah, you ought to get a spoon. We really ought to taste this, huh? Not that we're not going to go ahead and bake it, because we are, but
Yeah, we've gone this far.
yeah.
If we don't like it, we'll just send it into the office with my dad. It'll be gone so fast, most people won't even taste it.
Yeah. From what he tells us, he refers to them as the ravening hordes. The folks in his office will eat just about anything. They eat the fruitcake cookies I send in. And a lot of people think the fruitcake cookies are kind of bizarre, but I guess they don't, so. They're engineers. So that may have a point.
Almost human.
Almost human, yes.
Just better.
That's going to be very tasty. I think, I hope. It would be better with brown sugar. Now,
But as it stands, the dough's quite nice.
yeah. And now we put them into a 350-degree oven for, always important to know, 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh, remember, always start with the lowest possible time. You can add time, you can't take it away.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out what happens now. Toodles! Back in a moment.
Hello.
Hello. And here we have the finished product. And because we use the scoop, they're nice and round like a pumpkin.
Yes. It took about 18 minutes in our oven.
Yeah. Now, this glaze is made with 2 cups of confectioner's sugar, 3 tablespoons of milk, 1 tablespoon of melted butter, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract.
And a
And
little
a little
food coloring.
bit of food coloring because they're pumpkin. They should be pumpkin colored. Now, it's just to drizzle them on with a fork. I haven't done this before either, so this should be interesting. Come on, drizzle, damn it. There we go.
That's not drizzling.
When I want my marks on the peanut gallery, I'll let you know. Well, screw the fork. I mean, the fork isn't working. I'm going to try a spoon here.
Perhaps, it would have been better to add a little more milk to thin it out. But oh well.
Well, we can do that. It says to do that.
Uh-huh.
But it looks to me like it's quite thin enough. It's doing its thing. And that's more or less what we're going to get.
Yep.
And in the meantime, you get to see us taste them for the first time because it's only fair. The glaze is kind of a little too much, I think. And Lord knows, I love sugar.
I guess I didn't get as much glaze in my bite. It seemed okay to me. It would be a good idea to let the glaze set up a little before you start eating it.
Yeah, it's drizzling down her fingers.
Oh, dears.
But
Although it's quite nice. As we said, brown sugar might make it a little richer.
it's a pretty good cookie, just the way it is.
Yep.
So
You're putting a little pumpkin pie spice. That could be fun. Yeah, there are various ways you can play with this, depending on your taste.
you could add, for instance, toasted pecans, which would, I think, go very nicely with this recipe. As a matter of fact, I kind of meant to stir some in with like the last batch and forgot because I'm an idiot. But there you go. So, we're coming up on Halloween and it's pumpkin time.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.